Another team in the AFC that is looking to take that next step in 2014 would be the Indianapolis Colts. And this is a Colts organization that has kind of, in a way, spoiled their fan base over the past decade plus. All those years of Peyton Manning, all those years of 10 plus wins, all those years of playoff appearances, an occasional deep run, a lot of early exits and disappointments, yes, but a lot of winning, a consistent amount of winning. One terrible season mixed in, and then here comes Andrew Luck and Chuck Pagano and Chuck Strong, and now it's 2 straight years of making the playoffs. And after 2013, not only did they make the playoffs, they won a playoff game. So progress, another step in the right direction to the Colts becoming a Super Bowl contender. And here in 2014, it's time for the Colts to try and make that next step. And part of the reason they find themselves in this position after such a terrible 2011 season, now a couple of years later, they're right back in the mix, is because of their success in recent drafts to a degree. Bottom line is the Colts picked the perfect year to tank a season. They picked a perfect year to completely suck in 2011 because they were rewarded in 2012 with the number one overall selection and rewarded with Andrew Luck being in the draft and being there for them to draft number one overall. You could sit there and say when you hit on a quarterback in the first round, it makes up for a lot of other mistakes and a lot of other deficiencies. And God knows that is 100% true. Because you look at some of the other hits they've maybe had, guys like Hugh Thornton and guys like T.Y. Hilton. There haven't been a lot of other hits in recent drafts for the Colts. But when you hit on Andrew Luck and you hit in the way that you did with Andrew Luck, compensates for a lot of other things, makes a lot of other people better, and it makes the people running the organization like Grigson and Pagano look like geniuses. You just got to keep the owner away from the stickiest of the ickies and the pills and the booze and everything else. Problem for the Colts is they do have quite a bit of questions based off of their past couple of draft classes too, and we'll see what happens in 2014. Bjorn Werner, their first round pick in 2013, I didn't agree with the selection because I didn't see where he really fit their scheme as a 3-4 outside linebacker, and he played like that in 2013. He looked kind of lost at times when he did play, and he didn't really make much of an impact. We'll see if he adjusts and fits the scheme better in 2014. The first round pick in 2011, Anthony Costanzo. He's been an okay blindside protector, but he's definitely not one of the best. And when you spend a first round pick on a left tackle, you want him to be really damn good and be a better blindside protector for your franchise quarterback in Andrew Luck than what Costanzo has been so far the past 2 seasons. You look at their tight ends from the 2012 class, the Kobe Fleeners and the Dwayne Allens. Dwayne Allen's going to be coming off of a major injury. Kobe Fleener showed more progression in year number 2, but is he going to take that next step and become a number 1 tight end for this organization in 2013? Part of the problem for the Colts is that they find themselves in a position where they really don't have a lot of ability to help themselves through this draft. It doesn't mean that they can't. It just means that it's very challenging. You trade away your first round pick for Trent Richardson, maybe oopsie daisies. You've only got a total of 5 picks. You don't have your first round pick. You don't have your fourth round pick. So you're sitting there with a second, a third, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. And they're all pretty much late picks in those rounds, too. So it's going to be a very challenging draft for the Indianapolis Colts to be able to effectively address some of the holes that they do have, in particularly on the defensive side of the football. The draft strategy for this organization, I feel, in 2014 is very easy to understand. It's got to be defense, defense, defense. Best available players on defense, maybe regardless of the position, because they need help everywhere on the defensive end. You saw that in the playoff game against the Chiefs. They let Alex Smith go off on him. You saw that definitely in the divisional round when they allowed LeGarrette Blount to run all over them. They need help on all 3 levels of the defense, but maybe a slight emphasis on the secondary, because that to me was the biggest weakness area of all on this defense. In terms of the team needs, like I said, it's primarily on the defensive side of the ball. Corner perhaps is their number 1 need. They need somebody opposite Vontae Davis that is just better than what they have. They need impact players at safety. They probably could use 2 safeties, frankly, but definitely a center fielder type of rangy free safety. They could use help at inside linebacker. He could use help at outside linebacker, because how much longer is Robert Mathis going to be able to play at the high level that he did in 2013? What happens if Bjorn Werner proves himself to not be a great fit for that 3-4 defense? You're going to need that help in the organization ready to go. You could always use help on the defensive line in the 3-4. Yes, they signed Arthur Jones in free agency from the Ravens, and that was a great signing for them, but they could maybe use an upgrade at nose tackle. They could use an upgrade maybe at defensive end on the other side of Arthur Jones. This is a Colts team right here. You could say with the young franchise quarterback, you could always use more help around him, and that's always going to be true. However, at the end of the day, if the Colts want to take that next step and the Colts want to be a championship contending team in the AFC, they must improve that defense because they've got to be able to take that next step to where they can truly contend with the Broncos and the Patriots of the world. And the only way they're going to do that is have a more balanced football team and have a defense that can make some stops, make some plays, and affect the game. Otherwise, it's going to be built with Andrew Luck like it was with Peyton Manning for so many years, an unbalanced one-dimensional team that wins a bunch of regular season games and faces a bunch of early exits in the playoffs. That's what happened in the years with Peyton Manning. If you're the Colts, you don't want to see the same thing happen with Andrew Luck. And the best way you can do that is build a more balanced football team, and you must do that via building up that defense in this draft. And with the limited amount of picks, it's going to be a challenge, but with needs in the secondary, at linebacker, on the defensive line, if they can find a couple of guys that could come in, especially in the second and third round, that contribute as rookies, it will definitely help the Colts in their path to journey to becoming a more balanced, complete football team.